This is Andrew for the Chosen Prime with a quick video preview of X-Transbots MX-VIII Aegis, or their take on a Masterpiece style G1 Trailbreaker. This is a pre-production test shot, so the paint and plastic are not final. Again, this is a sample. I don't have the instructions, but I do have all his accessories, so I'll show off in a little bit. So let's go ahead and take a closer look detail at this version of Trailbreaker. Taking a closer look here at Aegis, you can see these his robot mode here is very evocative of G1 Trailbreaker. I will note on this sample that I have, there's some blemishes here on the robot mode face that I assume will not be there in the retail version. But overall, a fairly slim figure here for a Trailbreaker compared to the other Trailbreakers on the market. You can see here the hood here matches pretty close to his torso here. Not many hollow spots. Everything kind of has panels that close up. Even on the back of the legs here, these panels come out to kind of fill these holes in. The overall, he's this kind of metallic. He's this metallic plastic, and it's not painted as far as I can tell where the plastic is. So there's no kind of tone issues with it. It's still glossy. And then he's got some silver bits here. But again, this is a test shot, so there's some so you can see here this paint here is not final. And when we get to his vehicle mode, you can see where there's some issues with the test shot paint. Again, with this being a sample. He is the heaviest of the Masterpiece Trailbreakers so far. There's die cast here in his legs, his feet, and part of his body. So he's the heaviest. He's 11 5/8 ounces, so he's quite hefty for a Masterpiece Trailbreaker. He's also the tallest of the Masterpiece Trailbreakers. He's 8.5 inches here to the top of his head. So he's a bit taller than all the other ones. As far as his posability here, the head is on a mushroom peg that can rotate, as well as a panel that's there for transformation, and then the head can look up and look down. These weapons here are actually integrated into his vehicle mode, and they're on multiple hinges as well. And you can hide them, you can fold them in to his backpack here, and we'll show off how that works so when we get to his transformation. And then this one is on hinges as well and move forward and back. His arms are a little strange here on the test shot. There's a hinge here that moves up and down, mostly due to transformation, and then there's a ratchet in the actual arm. It seems a bit stiff on this copy. I'm sure that's going to get rectified in retail, but you can move it outwards, and you have a little bit of play there, and then the arms do rotate on a pin. It's stiff. He does have a bicep swivel. He can curl his arms about 90 degrees. By default, he had two hands installed. And these are the X-Transbots KFC style hands where they have individual digits that can curl. And they do hide and integrate into the vehicle mode, but then they're just on there with a mushroom peg. And so you can also attach and install one of his kind of gun arms here. He comes with two. So he comes with two hands and then two of these little gun arm hairs. And these are actually designed to just slide on via mushroom peg. And then when we get to transformation, they actually fold in half and fit in the arm quite well. So it's a nice little bit of integrated engineering there. So pretty nice. He can rotate at the waist. He's got universal legs, so you can come out and they're pretty stiff, even as heavy as it is. Come down, come forward, come back. He does have ratcheted knees at this point, and you can see how well he can curl his leg there. Just a little bit of upper thigh swivel. He does have ankle articulation at the foot, as well as die cast here, and his toe can pivot down a little bit, so you can get some posability options there. And it's overall nice looking and clean looking version of Masterpiece Trailbreaker. As far as robot mode accessories, he comes with a little effect part here. You can plug onto his force field generator, and so you can have him have that little effect part as if he's generating a force field, which is a cool little piece. He comes with an alternate kind of piece for his hand here, so if we open up this panel and flip the hand in, and then close this panel back up, it now exposes this kind of circular peg port, and we can take one of these little pieces. He comes with two of them, and it just pegs on to the end of his hand here, and then we can take the little other force field generator he had in the show, and the rectangular peg just pegs on there, and he has that he can use. And again, he comes with two of those little panels, so you can put it on either hand. He also comes with a toy accurate version of his head, and it just slides off with a little mushroom peg. It's a little challenging here with this because this panel moves. And here is this toy accurate head installed. Again, nice little homage to his history. And again, it does rotate side to side and can look up and down. And then due to transformation, these little pieces here on the side actually squeezed in on springs to hide in there. Checking out his posability here. You can, with his different joints here and the nice deep knee bend, you can get some solid poses out of this guy, even as big and kind of heavy as he is, as a lumbering version of the G1 Autobot. And all the ratchets, and of course, having individually posable digits is always kind of fun on Transformers like this. So let's go ahead and take a look at his transformation into his truck mode. I'll do my best to transform Aegis here. Being a test shot, I do not have the instructions, and so we'll see how I do. So we'll begin by coming to his hands here, and we'll hide these hand pieces. So one, come to this panel here, flip it out to the outside like this, and then we can take the cannon, and it'll fold in on itself like that, and you can see how it actually fits into that space. And then we want to push up on the arm to collapse it. Come to the arm here, and you want to kind of push down and twist, and you can see how it'll separate from where the shoulder piece was. Come to the other hand, we'll hide it as well. So come to this panel, flip it outwards on a double hinge, flip the fist, curling the fingers inward so they hide correctly into the cavity. Push up so you can see how that collapsed. Push down on this piece and you can see how it twists outwards. And you want to, from what I remember, we want to have it so the fists here are facing outwards. Come to his back here. The truck canopy and his backpack will kind of unpeg from this like line here on his backside. Flip this panel. Come to the front of the vehicle mode here and untab it from the torso section. The wheels can now push outwards and lock into place. Come to the robot mode head here. Rotate it around and then kind of angle it forward, and it's kind of a tight fit here between this part here, but we want to fold it in through the backpack, which can be a bit tricky because the clearance is so tight. And it'll fold all the way forward into the cavity in this spot right here. These weapons will fold inwards like so on each side. Take the lower torso here, you want to flip it up past all these pieces, and you can see how it'll sit like that. And come back around to the front here. We want to rotate the arms here so that this panel is on the top side here, and then take the weapon here and kind of feed this around the arm like that. And then the arm panel here will all hinge and ratchet downward into this space, and it is a tight fit, and so it may take a little bit of finagling to kind of get it into that spot, but you kind of need to feed this all through into this area here. Again, a bit tricky, so do the same thing for the other side. Rotate this arm, make sure it's all squared off, feed the weapon through it so that you can go ahead and hinge this down and around, pegging everything in. And then once you've got this all lined up and pegged into place, rotate the arm pieces here so that this panel is on top. And then you want to feed them up into the front of the truck. Again, this is going to take a little bit of effort to kind of get it to fit. More so on the other side here. And then this all should peg together like that for the front of the undercarriage of the truck mode. Come to this canopy part here. We want to fold out these windows. Also untab the back panel of this canopy from the sides here, so that we can have this open, and eventually this will lock everything down into place, but these are pretty strong tabs. And then just move this forward for now so we can come down to the feet. Come to the foot here. This panel that covers the wheel well will double hinge out of the way, and then you want to straighten this piece out. This next bit's quite tricky because there's just so many kind of hidden double hinges in here, but we want to take this entire outer piece here, and by getting it clear of this little panel here, it'll hinge outward. So pull the wheel out, and then it'll hinge out even further. You can see that it's quite a long hinge mechanism here. Come to this the wheel and lock it into place. It's a pretty strong point. Then take this panel, and we want the cover, and fold it inward. Rotate this in, and it's quite hard, and then you can see how it double hinges in here, so it's actually quite difficult to get out for robot mode, but that's how it hides there. And now we can come to the foot here, and there's this piece that'll untab and move to the side. We can flip the toes in, and that's one leg ready to go. Come to the other leg, lift up on this, move the cover panel out of the way, grab this outer piece, and hinge out the wheel pieces so it's fully extended. Lock the wheel into place. Again, this is very stiff. And then lock that into place. Fold the cover into the interior leg, moving this piece so that it's square. Again, quite strange that this is as stiff as it is, but then this will double hinge and hide in the inner leg like that. Come to this panel on the foot, unpeg it so it stretches out, flip the toes in, come to the legs here, fold this panel so the silver piece is hidden fully in there, and then using the leg joint, or the knee joint, fold it back onto itself, and make sure that this little piece is on the outside, and it'll peg in. And then making sure you have clearance for this back panel, this little hinge pieces here will fit into these two channels, locking the side together. And just make sure that you have all these little tabs lined up, which can be a bit tricky considering just how tight this all fits. But there's one side, so we'll come to the other. Fold the leg onto itself first. Make sure that the little black piece is outward. Bend to the knee with the ratchet so it comes forward, tabbing it into the side here, and then move this hinge downward, fully extended, until it, those two pieces here, you can see how they're gonna match into these channels there. And then just kind of press everything together. Take the canopy back here, it'll hinge all the way back. You can see how the sides match up, so just make sure that you kind of match the sides up with the mirrors. Just be careful, it is thin plastic. Make sure the windows are in, and then peg in the back of the truck canopy, which again is probably the hardest part and is quite hard to unlock when you're actually turning it back into his robot mode, because it just really does solidly lock everything down. There's actually a peg hole here that matches onto the back of the vehicle mode. And then make sure the windows or the rear view mirrors are rotated up. And there is Aegis in his camper truck mode. So let's take a look at some detail for this. And here is Aegis in his truck camper mode. You can see that it's very clean overall. No color differences with this outer plastic. As a matter of fact, it's actually quite hard to actually find out where to start transforming this guy from his truck mode. But then again, start with the canopy, pull this out, and then do the legs next. But very nice. You can see it says turbo here at his grill. He does have rolling, stiff, solid rubber wheels with chromed hubcaps. On the mirrors here are silver, and they just rotate in and out of the way. And overall, just a really solid looking vehicle mode. Again, very clean on the underside, very clean on the back. When I was talking about some of the paint details, obviously he doesn't have any stripes on the side. These little taillights here are hand painted, so the final version of this guy should look a little bit better. As far as car mode accessories, he does come with this little radar dish, antenna dish here, which is what he used to spy in one of the very first G1 episodes on the Decepticons, and it can spin side to side. And it's meant to reenact that one scene in the cartoon where Spike and Sparkplug were kind of in the forest, and so additionally you get these little kind of detailed pieces here, this pieces of wood, a little tea or coffee set, and a little stump. And these are the additional little car mode details that they give you, which is interesting. I mean, this has even got little little coffee pot, and it's painted, and this is a painted stone. So if you had those little MP humans, you get to kind of reenact that scene. So let's go ahead and take a look at some comparisons for this guy. Roman comparisons for X-Transbots Aegis with other third-party Masterpiece Trailbreakers that have been released so far. On the far left, we've got BadCube Speedbump. In the middle, we've got Ocular Terraegis. And of course, here's X-Transbots Aegis. The X-Transbots effort is slightly taller than the other ones. He's also slightly heavier. You can see that there are stylistic differences between the three, whereas Speedbump and Aegis have kind of silver paint for their limbs, unlike the light gray for Terraegis. They're also on Terraegis here, he's a bit more stylized with the slimming car hood or truck hood for his robot mode. As far as accessories here, Aegis by far comes with the most different accessories. Both these two come with toy accurate heads, but then just the number of little pieces and parts you come with the Aegis here are a lot more. You can also see differences in the legs. Aegis here has got a lot more simplified, kind of cleaner legs than both Terraegis and the complexity here on Speedbump. And then here, just kind of giving a view of their different angles, you can kind of see how slim Aegis is compared to efforts like Speedbump, and kind of how simpler, a bit cleaner he is overall compared to the other previous efforts. He doesn't have the kind of the paint or plastic differences that Terraegis does, but his paint is not as glossy as Speedbump here on the far left. And you do get articulated fingers on Aegis here, slightly articulated fingers on Terraegis, and then just kind of a standard fist on Speedbump. Truck mode comparisons for the three. You can see how they all are essentially the same version of Masterpiece Trailbreaker. Again, this is a test shot, so he may be missing some paint detail that the other two have. You can see here the Speedbump's got a glossy finish, and they all have little bits of chrome. He's got some running boards. Terraegis here is multiple colors as far as difference between the hood here and its canopy. But you can see they're all roughly the same scale. They all have rubber tires. Terraegis in the middle is a little bit smaller, and I would say that these two on the outside are a little bit more accurate. But here you can see just how they all stack up here in their vehicle modes. And Aegis is definitely a really nice looking version of Masterpiece Trailbreaker. Road mode comparisons for Aegis here with official Masterpiece Autobots. Here we've got Ironhide, Prime, and Inferno. And you can see how Aegis is taller than both Ironhide and Inferno, and just slightly smaller than Prime. And you see that his overall look and kind of simplicity matches the look of these official Autobots. And I think here it shows quite well how well the X-Transbot effort fits alongside other official Autobots on your Masterpiece Autobot shelf. And vehicle mode comparisons. And here you can see how well Aegis matches the other Autobots in their vehicle modes, specifically Ironhide here in the front. They're good scale amongst the two of them. And then again, Aegis here, or their Trailbreaker, definitely matches the scale set by the other Autobots. Comparing X-Transbots Aegis with their version of Hoist. This is a test shot of Paean, their version of Hoist. You can see that they will have the same basic skeleton, but then their version of Hoist here is a bit shorter, which does match the way it was in the cartoon. His legs are quite a bit different. The chest is the same. The arms use the same basic transformation, but there are a lot of other little differences across the two figures. But you can see here how the same skeleton makes nice versions of Trailbreaker and Hoist, and how just different they are, even though they had the same basic vehicle mode and skeleton. And you see here how these two test shots kind of stand up next to each other here in their robot modes. And truck mode comparisons, you can see that they're essentially the same here in their truck modes, and match what the Trailbreaker and Hoist would look like with all the detail. And even though they had different robot modes, here they have different truck modes, different transformations. What's interesting is that even though Hoist here is shorter, his wheelbase is actually longer in truck mode here. So it is a completely different kind of back half for this vehicle for their version of Hoist. And both look really nice, nice glossy finishes, and overall solid vehicle modes. Some final thoughts for a pre-production sample of X-Transbots MX-9 Aegis, or their take on a Masterpiece Trailbreaker. As you can see, he does match the look and aesthetic of a Masterpiece styled version of Trailbreaker. He's big, he's heavy, he's got a fairly clean design that matches both the toy as well as the tune. His transformation is fairly simple compared to some of the other transforming Trailbreakers we've had recently. And overall, you know, even in this pre-production state, it's a pretty nice effort from X-Transbots. You've seen that he does match quite well with other Masterpiece Autobots in the collection. Again, this is a pre-production sample. Some different things might change, like tolerances, paint, and other details. He does have a lot of fun accessories. We are expecting to get our actual retail stock of this figure sometime in May. If you'd like to add Aegis to your Masterpiece collection, he is available for order at the Chosen Primes. So take care.